Hey there, today I'm going to do a tutorial on Countif, Sumif, Averageif and Sumproduct. So what I'm going to do is generate 30 student IDs, generate a score for them randomly, assign them a grade using this score grade table, and then answer these questions using the different functions: Countif, Sumproduct, Averageif, Sumif, another Sumproduct. So first of all, let's get some student IDs in. So I'm actually going to use a row function here and -1 because I'm going to go from 1 to 30. So if I drag this down, we're going to get 1 to 30. I'm going to copy, right click, and I'm going to paste as values. So now they are hard values. So row basically returns the row number. So I start on row 2, so that's why I put row -1. So it'd be 2 minus 1, giving us 1. Drag it down, so you get row 3 is going to be 3, but -1 is 2, and so on till I get to 30. Now the score, if we highlight the B column, and if we go rand between, let's say 10, because we don't want people to get 0, and say the top's 100. So if we do Control Enter, this gives us a list of random numbers between 10 and 100. So I don't want anyone to score less than 10 on the test, so there we go. Now if I copy this again, copy, right click, paste as values again, so now these are fixed. So as you can see here, they're not going to change when I refresh or F2 and enter. They're not going to do anything. Now the grade, as discussed in an earlier tutorial, we're just going to use offset. Reference is going to be the start of the grade table, and for the rows we're going to pick up the sum product of the score is greater than these. Now I'm going to lock that with F4. I'm going to close the parentheses. I'm going to set 0 columns to translate because we want the same column. And then I'm going to drag this formula down the C column. And I'm going to keep it formulated for now, but I don't need to. So yeah, these are now the grades that have been generated randomly. So this has all been random because I generated the scores random, so the grades are random. So now we're going to look at the questions here. We've got how many students got a C grade, or got a C. So there's a function in Excel called Countif, and it basically counts based on criteria. So if I type in Countif, we've got two parameters, a range and a criteria. So the range in this case is going to be the grades, right? So we're looking at everyone's grades from A star to F. And then our criteria parameter is just going to be C. So it says 4 people got a C. So if we look and highlight, just for clarity, so if I double click the format painter, it locks it in. So we've got 1 C there, got another C there, got another C and another C. So yeah, 4 C's, that looks correct. So that's good. So that's the first question done. I'm just going to reset these. So the next question, how many students got a D or lower? So again, we're going to use Countif. Now this time, instead of using the actual grade column, because it's D or lower, I know I can have D, E or F. But I also know from this grade score table that if someone gets 59 or less, they're going to get a D or lower. So I can just say, in the score column, pick that up as my range, and then say less than or equal to 59 will give us a D. So 17 people got a D or less. I'm not going to check that because that's quite a lot, but out of the 30 students, 17 got a D, E or an F. So the next question, this one's quite an interesting one. I'll tell you why in a minute. So how many students got an A star? So if we try this, so if we do Countif again, we pick up the grade, it's very similar to the first question, this one. And then if we actually try and put in A star, you'll notice we get 6, which you might think, oh, that's correct. But actually, let's have a look at how many A stars we can see. So let's fill these. So A star there, A star there, A star there, A star there. So there's actually 4 A stars. So why is it picking up 6? What have we done wrong? Well, we actually haven't done anything wrong. It's just our criteria is looking at A star, and the star in the criteria is actually a wildcard that stands for 0 or more characters. So basically I'm telling it to look at the grade column and look at something that starts with the letter A, and then it can just be A, or it can be A dot 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 something something. So A star is obviously picked up, and A's are picked up as well. So it's actually picking up the two A's. Now there's a couple of ways we can get around this. So we could take this function and leave it be, and then subtract a Countif just on A, and that will give A star. But the better way of doing it, and the quicker way, is to go to the criteria again, and between A and the star, if you put the tilde symbol, it acts as an escape character. So it's looking now for the physical string A star. It's not looking for something that starts with A. So now you see we get 4, which is correct, because we don't include these two A's down here. Okay, so the next question. How many students got an F and have an odd ID? Bit of an odd question, excuse the pun, but okay, let's figure it out. So we're going to use Sumproduct as our formula. Now we've got two criteria to fulfill, because it's an AND statement. So let's look at the first one. So we want to see how many students got an F. Right, so we pick up this, oops, and we set it equal to F, because it's an array. That's the first one, and we use a star because we're using an AND criteria. Star like multiplies the criteria together, if that makes sense. So now we're looking for odd IDs in the student ID column, column A. So let's have a think about this. For a number to be odd, if you divide the number by 2, you should get 1 left over. And there's a function that can do this. It's called mod, the modulus. So if we pick up all the numbers in the column, we divide them all by 2, 2 is the divisor, and we can say if that equals to 1, the number is odd. So if you did 5 mod 2, you'd get 1 left over. If you had 6 mod 2, you'd get nothing, because 6 divides by 2 perfectly, because it's even. So if it equals 1, if the leftover is 1, it's going to be odd. So that is the criteria. So now we just close these brackets, and we can see that 5 students got an F with an odd ID. Now let's go through and verify this. So I'm just going to reset these. So let's highlight all that get an F first. So F there, F, F, a few more. Let's see, quite a lot of people got Fs. They didn't revise enough, obviously. Wow, that's quite a lot of Fs. Okay, so my formula is saying that 5 of these that I've highlighted should have an odd ID. Now let's go through and highlight if they do. So this one does, because the ID is 3. Let's format paint the whole thing. That's 6, no. 12, no. 14, no. 17, yes. 22, no. 24, 25, 27, and 29. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the formula seems to have worked. So that's good news. So the answer is indeed 5. Let's reset that. If you're interested in how I'm resetting the colors like that, it's actually a key combination Alt-H-H-N. I just remember it, I don't know why. But yeah, it's quick to clear colors if you need it, for whatever reason. You just have your range highlighted and do that Alt-H-H-N combination. Okay, what was the average score for students who achieved a B or higher? Well, that's an Averageif, right? Because the criteria is they need at least a B. So again, I'm actually going to pick up the score here, because we know if they get a B or higher, they get at least 70, because the highest you can get with a C or less is 69, so they need to get 70 to get a B or higher. So I'm going to pick up the score, and I'm going to set the criteria to greater or equal to 70, and then I'm going to average the same range. So I'm going to reference the range twice, and then we get the average of 86.89 for students who achieved a B or higher. It is, I mean, this question is a bit weird, but I'm just trying to illustrate how to use the function, so don't worry too much about if the question makes perfect sense or not. Now we want to sum of the students who scored a B. So the sum of the score of the students who achieved a B, sorry. So as the function column J says, we use Sumif. And now we're going to look at the grade this time, because we want specific to B. So our criteria is that that is B. So we've said we're looking at the grade C column. We want it to be B. Now, what are we going to sum if it's B? We're going to sum column B because that's our scores. So this is going through the grades, and every time there's a B, it's picking up the score related. So it's that one, that one, that one, and that's it. And you can see down here, I don't know if you can read that, the sum is 228, the count is 3, average is 76, that's quite nice. So yeah, 228, that seems to be correct. Now this last one, what is the sum of the scores of students that achieved either an A star or an F? Again, it's a bit of an odd question. Now one way I could do this is I could use Sumif and say, alright, we want the range, we want it to be an F, and then we want to sum this, so that's the sum of the F's, and then we can just append another Sumif, C2 to C31, and we want A tilde star because we want the exact, and then sum again B2 to B31. So we could do that. 650, let's take a note of that. So that is the answer, but using two formulas is a bit annoying. So why don't we just use a sum product? Again, because it's an OR criteria now, instead of the star we used earlier, we're going to use a plus symbol. So now we want to highlight the grades. We want to say it's equal to A star. We don't need the wildcard now because Sumproduct doesn't do wildcards basically. So now we've got that as our first criteria. Or, so we use the plus symbol, open the brackets, we look at the grade again, and we say it's equal to F. But we're not quite done yet, so we need to close that bracket. We need to go to the next array, and we need to use a unary operator, true or false. And we need to look at the scores. And then if we close that and close that, you see we get 650. So what's this saying? It's saying every grade in this array that comes up as an A star or an F gets flagged basically. So if I quickly go through and do it, there's probably quite a few. So all the F's will get flagged and the A stars. So I'll quickly do that for you guys. Won't take long. That looks to be it. So it's flagged all of those, and now the Sumproduct function is now using this unary operator on B2 to B31, where this criteria is met. So every time a score pops up and the grade next to it is green, that I've highlighted, it gets added. So we've got 31, that gets added. 19, so if I do 31 and then it'll be add 19, add 37, add this, and as you can see it goes down all the way, and you see the count is 15, the average doesn't matter too much, but it's 43.3 recurring, and the sum is 650. So we can see that this formula works, and I only had to use one formula, not two separate SumIfs. So Sumproduct, in essence, is a very powerful function, and I'd consider you guys maybe reading up about it if you're a bit unsure, but yeah, that's the tutorial for today. Thank you for watching, guys.